what people have come up with, okay? So then again, what y'all are doing right now is filling out these questions on the thinking about on the community warm-up activity on Summit, and then go through all of these, and you can see mine as an example up here, how to fill these out, okay? So I'll leave this up on my screen for another minute or two to kind of give you a better idea of how to answer these, and then you can go ahead and fill the rest of it out yourself, all right? If you have questions at any time, put them in the chat or turn your mic on, let me know, all right? But see if you can work on this right now, and then I'll let you guys know when we're going to come back, okay? Sounds like we got somebody else on here with us. Oh, maybe Anisha just went off and came back on again. Yeah, we still got everybody, okay. We lost Kareem, it looks like. That's okay. All right. So again, we are working on the community warm-up activity. Looks like this. All right. So see if you can get through that right now. And then when we're going to come back together, I will give everybody a heads up. Okay. If you have a question, don't be afraid to let me know. All right. I'm going to mute my video, but if you have a question and you just need to give me a holler, turn your mic on or put it in the chat. I'll still be around. All right. Thank you. As you're working on this again, if you have any questions, let me know. Anisha, welcome back. If you finish, just let me know. Type finished in the chat or let me know so that way I know when we can come back and go over it and move on to the next thing. All right. But still got plenty of time. Take another 5-10 minutes if you need to finish these. And if you have any questions, let me know. Someone removed you from the chat. That's interesting, Anisha. Because I definitely did not. So they might be working out some bugs, but just keep going on what we were doing on Summit. Finish that activity. And I was just telling everybody else, when you're done, let me know. You can put it in the chat or turn your mic on and just let me know you're done. That way I know when we're ready to keep going. All right. But good job. Keep it up. Right, ladies, if you are still working, see if you can finish this up in the next 5 minutes. And then I want to see what everybody came up with. We'll go over a little bit, and then I will show you what we are going to move on to next. All right. So again, take another 5 minutes and try to finish that activity up if you're not done yet. All right. Good job. Keep going. If you have any questions, let me know. All right, y'all, 2 more minutes, and then we are going to see what we came up with if we're not done yet. If you finish before then, just let me know. All right, let's try and bring it back in here and see what we have come up with. I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, so we are working on this one right here. Okay, so what y'all can do is turn your mics on. I have them muted right now, but go ahead and turn them on because I want to hear some of your answers that you came up with. If you didn't get all the way finished, that's okay. We'll go through the other ones together. But if somebody has an answer for number 2, what communities does our does our class share in common? I would love to hear any of those. So if you want to turn your mic on and tell me what you put in for number 2, or if you want to put it in the chat, that's fine too. But what do you think the communities our class shares in common are? What are those communities when you think about where everybody in Yes Philly and their neighborhoods, their communities, what are the things that all those communities share in common? What'd you guys come up with for that? Anything?
I said the neighborhoods that we grew up in, that we was raised in, they might be the same.
Okay, that's definitely true. So maybe a lot of the same neighborhoods where you grow up might have the same kind of things involved. All right, very good. Thank you, Denise. Anything else?
And I said a lot of students had a difficult childhood because of personal family issues, and a
Okay,
lot of students became parents at a young age. So teenage pregnancy is common, and we most likely to have the same genre of music, which is R&B and hip hop, because that's a part of our culture. And a lot of us use social media.
I really like the music and the social media one. That's good. Nobody said that yet. Yeah, so a lot of things that are similar. So, and what I think is important there is, the geographical location might be the exact same. Like, somebody might live in west or south or northeast or wherever, but no matter where it is, a lot of the same experiences happen. Like teenage pregnancy, same musical tastes. You're all on social media, so all important things. So really good job with that. Okay. Now let's look at number 3. Now we're talking about what are the things that are unique to your personal community. In other words, what places or groups are part of your community but not a part of everyone else's. So are there any ideas that people came up with for that one, for number 3? I know we've heard Denise already. So if Selena or Anisha, if any of you have any ideas for number 3, don't be afraid to let us know. And again, we're talking about in this one, what are some things that are unique to your specific community? Like for me, for example, I might say in Fishtown, something that's unique is um, a lot of the murals. Even though there's murals everywhere in Philly, the ones in Fishtown are really kind of specific to Fishtown. There's a lot of like fish and stuff like that, and some of the bars and restaurants here are not like they anywhere else in Philly. So that'd be something that's really unique to Fishtown. So did anybody come up with anything that's unique to their community for number 3? You can put it in the chat or turn on your mic and let us know. But what do you think for that one? Hmm. Let's see what we said here. You just skip them one. Denise said charity. That's good. When you say charity, Denise, what do you mean? Do you mean like charitable events or like people given to homeless? What do you mean?
Yeah, I said people giving back to the homeless people. Like we got a lot of shelters here for homeless people, and the recreation centers who like donate to people in need, like clothes, book bags when it's time to go back to school, school supplies and stuff like that.
That's good. That's good. I like that. All right. Now let's go down to wrong window. All right. Strengths and areas for improvement. Uh, Anybody come up with anything for that one? What are the strengths in your community? What's good about it? What's lacking? Does anybody think of anything for that one? I know, I already gave my example. Improve gun violence. That's a good one. Anisha, did you come up with anything for that one? And if not, that's okay. Selena said during the coronavirus, their community is giving back. That's good too. And then strength. So that'd be a strength. Denise says improve gun violence might be an area for improvement in her community, as I'm sure is an improvement for in a lot of communities in Philly. So that's good too. All right. Now, let's move back down to the last two. All right. Agree, drug and gun violence. Good job. Good job. Okay. So now let's look at, number 5, our message for the community. If you were able to come up with one of these, go ahead and put that in the chat now. If you didn't, that's okay, because that's what we're going to focus on for our next activity. But if you were able to come up with a message for your community, go ahead and put that in the chat now. Like I could put one in for Fishtown. I might say, keep Fishtown beautiful, right? So that might be mine, because there's a lot of great artwork, a lot of great squares and parks that we want to keep clean. So maybe that would be my message, that it could go on a banner or something. So if you got to that one and you came up with a message, put it in the chat now. If not, then that's okay. Because that's what we're going to work on for our next activity. And if you didn't get a message, but you can think of some of your favorite places in your community, you can put those in the chat now as well. So put a message in there if you came up with one, and if not, go ahead and put 1 or 2 of your favorite places in your community in the chat right now. I'll put some of mine in. One of mine would be Loco Pez. That's a really good Mexican restaurant. Another one would be Barcade. That's a really good bar where they have video games and stuff. And my last one might be this place called Conrad Square. Oh, Denise, I like that message. Living the spirit of brotherly love, always be a helping hand. That's really good. So that'd be a great message, because you're talking about, help people out, and it's brotherly love. Okay. So I like that. Any other favorite places people can think of in their neighborhood, in their community? Go ahead and throw them up in that chat if you got one. I know some of the places people have said in other classes have been Center City. A couple places are in and around Fairmount, like Azalea Gardens by the Art Museum, things like that. Anybody have a favorite place in their community that comes to mind? If you do, throw it in that chat. Penn's Landing, that's a good one, Denise. I was just there not too long ago. I'm sad though, because I went to Penn's Landing and I saw Festival Pier where the concerts used to be. That was they had gotten rid of that because they're getting ready to build stuff in there. All right, Rocky Steps, another good one. All right, Anisha, Selena, any favorite places come to mind for y'all? Throw them in the chat if you got one. Your house. That's good. That's one of my favorite places too. You know why? Because you got all your stuff there. I can go to the fridge, get some Oreos if I want. You really don't go anywhere. Well, that's good though, Anisha, because you should be staying home and social distancing anyway. So that's okay. But ladies, thank you. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna think about all the stuff that we did just now for our own community, and we're gonna use it to do our next activity. Okay. So what you're gonna do is you're going to we're gonna go back into Summit. Okay. And I'm going to show you where you're going to get our next activity from. All right, let me just do something real quick on my end. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again, and I will show you where we're going to go here. So you're on Summit. You were just doing that activity we were working on, right? So you can close out of that. Everything will save. You're going to go back to this page on Summit where you see Poetry Everywhere. Click on checkpoint 1, and then if you scroll down right underneath the activity we were just working on, you'll see it says first task, get your message out. So you can click on that, and then you'll see an activity that looks like this come up. Okay, so this is where we should be right now. When you get there, type got it or here in the chat so I know everybody's on the same page. But again, what you're going to do is you're going to go on Summit, click on checkpoint 1, scroll down to where you see first task, click that, and then it's going to look like this. Okay. Anisha got it. Good job. Thank you. So again, you should be on checkpoint 1, first task is where you're going, and then should look like this. Okay. While everybody is getting there, I will explain how this is going to work. You can see it says, think of a place in your community that you feel is an important part of the community or has a special meaning to you. Use that place to fill out the boxes below. 3 to 5 sentences for each box. So it should be in complete sentences here. All right. So I know exactly what you're talking about. So the first box up top, your place, that's going to be a place you can think of in your community that either you have good memories in, it is important to you, it's special to you in some kind of way, you really like the scenery there or whatever it is. So we were just kind of talking about some of our favorite places. So obviously, Selena, let's try and not use your house, even though it is very comfy, I'm sure. Think about somewhere in your actual community, in your actual neighborhood. All right. If you can't think of somewhere super specific, but you know you'd like to go to Center City a lot, you can use Center City. Okay. If you like the Rocky Steps, you can use the Rocky Steps. If you want to use Yes Philly, then use Yes Philly. Okay. But what you're going to do in the first box up here where it says your place, that's where you're going to type that place. So if I was doing my own, I might say Comrade Square would be probably my favorite place in Fishtown, right? So then we're just going to fill out the rest of these boxes then. And again, make sure 3 to 5 sentences for each one. So let's say, oh, excuse me. Our first box says, where is it specifically located? So I would say Comrade Square is located in the north part of Fishtown. It is a nice little grass. And again, this is just my example, right? You can do you're gonna do your own, but it's a nice little grassy square in between the intersection of Survivor Street and I can't remember the other street right now, so let's just say Dolphin Street. And let me learn how to spell. It's located on the way to one of my favorite restaurants, logo Pez. Okay, so there I got my 3 sentences. I answered the where question. Then I would go down and do the what. What are the major details about this place that make it memorable? Okay, so then I might talk about, I love the scenery there. Lots of people take their dogs for a walk. It's where my girlfriend and I, kind of walked through there. The first time we went out and explored the city when we moved down here. Things like that. And then keep going answering all of these boxes, okay? Then when you get down to number 2, stop right there. And I want to explain how the second part of this is going to work, because that's what's going to be your quote unquote homework for next week, what we're going to bring to our next class. Okay. So go ahead and just do part 1 of this right now and fill in these boxes with your favorite place in your community. Okay. Take about 15 minutes and then we'll come back together and I'll explain how the second part is going to work. Okay. If you have any questions, let me know, put them in the chat or turn your mic on, give me a holler. All right. But that is what we are working on right now. Okay. So take 15 minutes, get that one done. And when you get to number 2, stop and we'll come back together and I'll explain the last part. All right. Let me know if you need anything. I'm going to turn my video off again, but I will be around if you have a question. All right. Selena, I just saw your message in the chat. No problem. I'll explain what we're doing again, okay? So I'm going to share my screen again real quick. All right. So on Summit, if you go back to the checkpoint 1 page, all right, and then you scroll down to where you see it says first task, click on that, and then it'll bring up a page that looks like this, okay? What you're going to do on this activity is you're going to use a place in your neighborhood, in your community that you like, that has a special meaning to you or anything like that. So somewhere that's not your house, but an actual place in your community. If you can't think of one, then use Yes Philly maybe as your place. But what you're going to do is you're going to put that place in the top box. So I kind of did my own here as an example. Put the name of that place in the top box and then fill out the rest of these boxes in part 1. All right. Try and get 3 to 5 sentences for each one. So then I did the first one and I explained, my place is Comrade Square. This is where it's located. I gave a little bit of a description and that's that. Then you're going to, keep filling out these boxes explaining, what are the details? Why is this place important to you? When do people usually go there? Who can you see around this place? How does this place make you make you or other people feel, right? So then fill out all those, and then when you get to number 2, stop, and I'm gonna explain the rest. But that's what we're doing right now, okay? And again, go to Summit, where you see Poetry Everywhere. If you're in the class, checkpoint 1, scroll down, and then it's this one, first task right here. Okay, all right. Cool. I just got your next message. All right. Anisha, Denise, again, if y'all have questions, put them in the chat or let me know. All right. Take about another 10 minutes or so, 10, 15 minutes, because I know Selena's catching up to see if you can get through part 1. And then I'll explain part 2, what we're going to do for next week. All right. Good job, though. Keep going. Everybody's doing a good job today. Thank you.
Did you say every box had to have 3 to 5 sentences?
If you can, yeah. If the nature of the question isn't something that lends itself to that much detail, that's okay. But see if you can get 3 to 5 for each one. Mainly because I just want people to stay in the practice of complete sentences, complete answers, and stuff like that. Plus, the more description, the easier it'll be to do the next part. Right. So if you can try to get 3 to 5 for each one, that's great.
Can you read your where again?
I sure can. All right. So for my where, I said Comrade Square is located in the north part of Fishtown. Boom, that's one sentence. It's a nice little grassy square in between the intersection of Survivor Street and Dolphin Street. Boom, 2 sentences. It's located on the way to one of my favorite restaurants, Logo Pez. Boom, 3 sentences right there. So short, sweet, to the point, 3 quick sentences that give me a good description. And then now I'm on to the next box. Okay, does that help, Denise?
Yes.
Good. All right, y'all. Take about 5 more minutes if you are still not done with that activity. I mean, again, you're just doing number one or section number one, those first couple boxes. When you get down to number two, where it says brainstorm, that's where you stop, and that's what I'm going to explain how we're going to do next. That's going to be due for next week. All right. So take about 5 more minutes and see if you can fill the rest of those boxes in, and then we'll come back together. I'll explain the last step, and then we'll wrap it up for today. All right. But good job this morning. Thank you again. All right, I'll take about another minute, wrap up the one you're on, and then I'll explain how we're going to do the next part and what that's going to be for next week. Okay. Okay. So good job again today. Here is the last thing that we're going to do. All right. I'm going to share my screen one more time. Okay, so you will see on your activity that looks like mine, we just did the first part. You're filling in all these where, what, when boxes, okay? And then you come down to this part that says brainstorm. So in this part, very similar to what we did in the first activity, you're going to use this place that you used for these boxes, and you're going to come up with a couple different messages um, for the people in that place, and then why they're important. So just kind of how, like we were doing ours before in that other activity, and I said, okay, if I was doing one for Fishtown, maybe it would be keep Fishtown beautiful, right? And then why it's important, I would say Fishtown has a lot of great art and culture, and we want to keep it that way, right? Something like that. See if you can flesh yours out a little bit more. But if you can come up with like at least 3 of these for your place that you used for the boxes up here, that's what you're going to do for the next part of this activity. And then you can see number 3, it says create a banner, but it says optional right here. That's because I know that obviously not everybody has the stuff to make a banner since we're at home. If we were at school, then I'd have the supplies and stuff like that. But I know we don't have all that stuff at home. So for number 3, if you can do that and you want to use one of those messages and turn it into a banner, either do it on cardboard or computer paper, whatever you have. If you do that and you show it to me next week, then I'll throw a little extra credit in there. Okay. But all you need to have done is just that second part where it says brainstorm and come up with a couple of messages for that place in your community and why they're important. And then next week, we're going to talk about how we can look at poetry and see, these messages in the poems that we read. Okay. So for next week, what you got to have done is all of that first task activity. And then if you want to do the banner part at the end, that's optional, and it'll be like an extra credit thing because I know not everybody might be able to do that while we're at home right now. Okay. But that is it for today and this week, since we only have one class per week. So when we meet again next Thursday, I'll see what everybody came up with for their messages and stuff, and we'll move on to the next part of the project. All right. So, y'all, I have office hours today from 1 to 3. So anytime during that time, if you have a question about anything, whether it's this class or just online school in general or what's going to happen, you can shoot me an email. I'll be on my phone or by my computer, and then I'll either reply to your email, or if I think it might be better to talk in person, I can shoot you I'll set up like an individual Hangouts call, and then we'll talk that way too. But that's when I'll be available to answer questions from 1 to 3. So if you need anything, shoot me an email or shoot me a message on Hangouts, and that's how I'll get back to you. Okay. But that is it for today. So I don't have a class tomorrow, so I won't see anybody. So I hope everybody has a good weekend and you're staying safe and healthy. Are there any last minute questions before we go right now? Everybody sure of what we have to do and everything like that? All right, Denise said, what's the homework? No problem. So, Denise, what you're going to do is, like you see on your screen right now, you have the activity we were just working on, the first task one. You just did the first part. So, for next week, you're going to fill out the second part where it says message for people in this place. You're going to come up with a message, kind of like I did for Fishtown, and then tell me why that message is important. What does it mean for that place? See if you can fill all of these out, all right? Or if you can get at least 3 of them. And if you want to use one of them for like a coronavirus message for the community in general, that's okay too. But you're going to do that part. And then down here, number 3, where it says create a banner, that part's going to be optional because I know not everybody has the materials at home. But if you can make a banner and you want to do that and show it to me next week, then I'll throw some extra credit on there too. All right. So that's what's going to be due next week. All right. Any other questions, anything like that? All right. Before we jump off of here. Yes. So the messages are for Anisha's good. She said no. So the messages are for the place you used for the first section in that same activity. Okay. All right, cool. So if there's no other questions, I'm gonna end the call. Like I said, I have office hours from 1 to 3. If anything else pops up, shoot me an email or message me on Hangouts, and I will be here. All right, ladies, have a good weekend. Thank you for logging on. I appreciate you being responsible, and we will see you soon. All right, bye, y'all. Stay safe.